Beloved, there comes a moment in every heart when the question rises like a whisper in the night. Lord, which way should I go? You may stand at a crossroads, uncertain of your next step, wondering if the path before you will bring peace or pain, blessing or burden. And yet within you right now, there is a presence that already knows the answer. There is a guiding light, an inner compass placed there by God Himself, pointing you toward destiny. You need not search in the noise of the world, for the direction you seek has been planted in the silence of your soul. And that is why we begin here, with this truth. God's direction is already within you, waiting to be recognized. Deep within every soul lies a hidden compass, a divine intelligence planted by the Creator before the foundation of the world. This compass is not man-made. It is not learned in books. It is not something you must acquire. It already exists in you, waiting to be recognized. When you pause and ask, Lord, which way should I go? You are not asking a distant deity to send guidance from far away. You are awakening to the guidance that has always been near, closer than your breath, nearer than your heartbeat. This inner direction does not shout, it whispers. It is not found in panic or in hurried thoughts, but in the stillness of a surrendered mind. The Spirit within you nudges, inclines, and gently pulls you toward the path of life. And the moment you turn inward with trust, you discover that the answer has always been present. Think of it as the seed of a great tree. Inside the seed, the design of the tree already exists. The roots, the branches, the fruit, all of it is programmed into that tiny beginning. In the same way, God has placed within you the blueprint of your destiny. The guidance you seek is not external. It is encoded in your soul. Recognition comes not through force, but through quiet awareness. When you believe that direction must come from outside, you wander. You chase signs. You look for confirmations in places that confuse you. You feel tossed between choices. But when you awaken to the truth that divine direction is already within you, a deep calm floods your being. You no longer beg for light. You realize you are standing in light. The mind may doubt, but the Spirit never doubts. The mind may waver, but the compass of God never wavers. Every time you align yourself with that inner knowing, by silencing fear, by affirming faith, by resting in stillness, you recognize the way forward. You begin to see that what you once called coincidences are in fact confirmations. What you thought were accidents are in fact alignments. Say within yourself, quietly, but with certainty, the wisdom of God within me knows the way. I trust it. I recognize it. I follow it. Let this thought sink deeply into your subconscious. The more you impress this truth, the more naturally your mind aligns with divine guidance. You find yourself thinking the right thoughts at the right time, meeting the right people at the right moment, and choosing the right steps without strain. This is not chance. It is the recognition of what was always there. Just as the sun shines behind the clouds even when hidden, so God's direction shines within you even when you do not see it. The recognition of this truth lifts the fog, clears the uncertainty, and illuminates your way. The direction is not waiting to be created. It is waiting to be recognized. And recognition begins in faith, in trust, in that inner certainty that says, God has already provided the way for me. The Spirit of the Lord leads through peace, never through confusion. One of the greatest signs of God's leading is peace, not the fleeting peace of circumstances, not the temporary relief that depends on things going your way, but the deep, abiding peace that surpasses all understanding. The Spirit of the Lord does not drag you into chaos. It does not push you into anxiety. It does not demand frantic effort. The Spirit leads gently, clearly, and always in harmony with the calm of heaven. When confusion arises, it is not the voice of God. Confusion is the noise of the restless mind, the chatter of fear, the echo of doubt. But when peace flows into your heart like a river, even in the midst of storms, know this: you are being led by the hand of God. Peace is the language of divine direction. The world may call it intuition. The philosophers may call it inner reason. But at its root, it is the Spirit's confirmation. It is the whisper that says, "Be still. This is the way." If a decision fills you with unrest, if it tears you in many directions, pause, wait, for the Spirit of the Lord never guides by torment, but always by tranquility. Think of a shepherd leading his flock. He does not drive them with fear, but guides them gently to still waters and green pastures. In the same way, the Spirit within you does not scream or threaten. It assures, it steadies, it calms. And when you yield to that peace, you discover that the path ahead becomes smoother, lighter, and clearer. Many people mistake urgency for direction. They feel pushed by time, pressured by circumstances, and they assume this is the voice of God. But the Spirit is never in haste. God's timing is perfect, and His direction is precise. When you are led by Him, you feel rested even while moving forward. You feel light even while carrying responsibility. You feel assured even when the future is unseen. Peace is not the absence of challenges. Peace is the presence of divine order. You may still walk through valleys. You may still climb mountains, but inwardly you are steady. Your steps are not frantic. Your mind is not scattered. Your heart is not torn. You move with confidence because the Spirit's peace surrounds you like a shield. Say often to yourself, "The Spirit of the Lord leads me through peace. I trust the calm within me." As you affirm this, you program your subconscious to recognize peace as the true sign of guidance. You will no longer be swayed by fear, nor tossed about by indecision. Instead, you will know, if it is of God, it brings peace. If it is of confusion, it is not for me. Peace becomes your compass. Peace becomes your confirmation. And in every crossroad of life, when the world says rush, when the mind says fear, you will listen to the Spirit that says, "Be still, I will show you the way." Every question has its answer in the infinite mind of God. There is no question too great, no problem too complex, and no mystery too deep for the infinite mind of God. Every question you hold in your heart already has its answer in the divine. The very fact that you are able to ask reveals that the answer is already prepared, waiting to be unveiled. In the heavenly storehouse of wisdom, nothing is missing, nothing is incomplete, nothing is uncertain. The human mind often believes it must figure everything out through effort, logic, and calculation. It struggles, debates, and wrestles with possibilities, thinking that answers will come only through mental strain. But the truth is that your finite mind connects to an infinite mind, and in that connection, every answer becomes available. The question is never, is there an answer? The real question is, am I still enough to hear it? The infinite mind does not hide answers. It radiates them, the way the sun radiates light. It does not give them sparingly, but abundantly, just as rivers flow freely and oceans surge without end. When you quiet your thoughts and open your heart, you align with the eternal stream of wisdom that has existed before time began. Consider a radio. The station is already broadcasting. The music is already playing. The voice is already speaking. But until you tune the dial, you do not hear it. The answer from God is like that signal, constant, steady, ever present. Your role is to tune your inner being through faith, prayer, meditation, and trust. Once you align, you hear what was already being spoken. There are no unanswered prayers in the infinite. There are only prayers waiting to be recognized. The answer may not always appear in the form you expect, but it always appears in the form you need. Sometimes it comes as an idea that flashes into your mind, sometimes as a person crossing your path, sometimes as an opportunity opening before you. But however it comes, know this: it was always in the infinite mind, waiting for your recognition. I affirm with conviction, every question I hold, God has already answered. The infinite mind reveals to me the perfect way. Let this truth saturate your subconscious. When you release the need to control the how and simply believe that the answer is given, your mind becomes fertile ground for divine ideas. Inspiration rises, clarity dawns, and the path unfolds. The infinite mind is never confused, never uncertain, never delayed. It is the source of all order, all creativity, all intelligence. When you lean on this truth, you no longer feel the burden of having to figure everything out. You trust that the answer already exists, and that it is making its way to you in perfect timing. Trusting divine guidance opens doors where walls once stood. There are moments in life when you feel surrounded by walls. Obstacles appear immovable, opportunities seem locked, and progress looks impossible. You may push and strain with your own strength, but nothing moves. Yet when you begin to trust divine guidance, you discover that doors swing open where walls once stood. What once looked like a dead end becomes an entryway into something greater. Divine guidance does not operate by human limitation. Where the human mind sees barriers, God sees possibilities. Where the human heart sees impossibility, God whispers, all things are possible. When you trust that divine direction is leading you, you begin to walk with a new confidence, knowing that unseen forces are working on your behalf. Think of a traveler in a dark corridor. To the eyes it appears as though there is no exit, only walls enclosing from every side. But the moment light shines, a hidden door is revealed. That is what divine guidance does. It shines light into the places of your life where you thought there was no way, revealing openings that were always there, waiting for the appointed moment. Trust is the key that unlocks these doors. Without trust, you push against the walls with fear and weariness. With trust, you allow God's wisdom to reveal the passage that was invisible to your sight. Trust is not passive, it is active faith. It is walking forward when the way seems uncertain, believing that as you step, the path will be made clear. Doors open not by human force, but by spiritual alignment. When you are aligned with God's guidance, circumstances shift, people appear, and opportunities unfold in ways beyond your imagination. What once looked closed begins to swing open effortlessly, because the same Spirit that guides you also arranges the conditions around you. Say to yourself, I trust divine guidance. I believe that doors are opening before me now. This affirmation plants seeds of expectation in your subconscious mind, and the subconscious, connected to the infinite, begins to draw opportunities, ideas, and people that correspond to that belief. What you once saw as walls slowly dissolves, and new pathways emerge. Trusting divine guidance transforms fear into faith, despair into hope, and limitation into expansion. The walls are not as solid as they seem. They are often illusions created by fear and doubt. When you align with the wisdom of God, the illusions vanish, and you walk through doors that others said could never open. What feels like delay or detour is God's redirection to destiny. In the journey of life, you may sometimes feel delayed, as though your prayers have not been answered, or your path has been slowed down. At other times, you may feel detoured, pushed onto a road you never expected, faced with events that seem to pull you away from your dreams. But what appears as delay or detour is not denial. It is often divine redirection, shaping you for destiny. The human mind measures time with impatience, always desiring quick results, instant changes, immediate fulfillment. But the divine timetable is not rushed, and it is never late. Every seeming delay carries hidden preparation, and every detour carries hidden purpose. The road you did not choose may in fact be the road that leads to the place you were meant to arrive. Think of a river that winds through mountains. To the eye, it may look like the river is delayed, twisting and turning instead of flowing straight. But those bends and curves are not mistakes. They are part of the river's design to reach its destination with power and beauty. In the same way, God redirects you through bends and turns to shape you, protect you, and position you for the greater flow of your destiny. When you feel delayed, instead of despairing, affirm within yourself, this is not delay, this is preparation. God is aligning me with something greater than I can see. When you feel detoured, instead of frustration, affirm, this is not rejection, this is redirection. God is leading me into my true path. Often the detour saves you from dangers unseen. What you thought was the straight path may have carried pitfalls, but the Spirit of God redirected you through another way. The closed door you cried over may have been protection, and the detour you resisted may have been the very path to your answered prayer. The mind resists when plans are interrupted, but the Spirit whispers, trust the process. For destiny is not a straight line, it is a divine weaving. What looks scattered to you is ordered in God's view. Every pause, every delay, every redirection is part of the design that brings you to the place you are meant to stand. See delays not as wasted time, but as sacred preparation. See detours not as punishment, but as divine navigation. Your destiny is too important to be left to chance, so God in His wisdom arranges even the interruptions of your life to guide you toward the fullness of His plan. The way becomes clear when you surrender the burden of overthinking. The greatest weight many carry is not physical, but mental. The burden of overthinking. You may analyze every possibility, wrestle with countless scenarios, and exhaust yourself trying to predict the future. But clarity never comes from endless mental struggle. The way becomes clear when you surrender the burden of overthinking and allow divine wisdom to guide your steps. Overthinking is the voice of fear disguised as logic. It keeps you circling in doubt, revisiting the same thoughts without progress, rehearsing every possible failure while missing the simplicity of God's direction. The Spirit of God does not guide you through confusion, but through calmness. When you release the mental tension, the light of clarity begins to shine. Imagine a pond of water. When it is stirred and restless, you cannot see the reflection of the sky above. But when it is still, the reflection becomes clear. Your mind is that pond. When overthinking stirs it constantly, you cannot perceive God's guidance. But when you surrender, stillness returns, and the reflection of divine wisdom appears clearly within. Surrender is not giving up, it is giving over. It is saying, Lord, I place this in your hands. I release my anxious control and trust your wisdom to lead me. This act of surrender lifts the heavy burden from your mind and allows your soul to breathe. In that state of trust, the answers you seek begin to rise naturally, like sunlight breaking through clouds. The subconscious mind responds to what you impress upon it. When you overthink, you impress confusion and fear. When you surrender, you impress trust and peace. And what you impress deeply becomes the condition of your life. By releasing the habit of overanalysis, you make room for divine inspiration to flow unhindered. Say quietly but firmly within yourself, I release this burden of overthinking. God is guiding me with clarity now. Feel the peace of that thought. Let it settle into your heart. As you do, your mind clears, your decisions simplify, and the right steps become visible. Clarity is not the product of endless thought. It is the fruit of trust. When you surrender the restless mind, you receive the calm assurance that you are led step by step. Overthinking is a weight, but surrender is a wing. One keeps you bound, the other lifts you higher. Divine wisdom transforms wrong turns into right outcomes. What you call a wrong turn is often the hidden path towards something higher. Divine wisdom takes what feels like a mistake, a misstep, even a failure, and reshapes it into a stepping stone for growth. The human mind may dwell on regret, asking why it chose this way, why it trusted that person, why it took that decision. Yet in the unseen working of God, even the paths that seemed crooked can lead to your appointed destination. Like a master artist who turns spilled paint into beauty, the Spirit transforms every wrong turn into a right outcome. Your part is not to condemn yourself, but to trust that the Eternal has already woven redemption into the fabric of your journey. Affirm, God is guiding me, showing me the way, step by step. Affirmations are seeds planted in the soil of the subconscious. And in this declaration, God is guiding me, showing me the way, step by step, becomes a powerful law in your life when spoken with faith. Each time you affirm it, you impress divine certainty upon your inner being, replacing fear with confidence and confusion with clarity. Step by step means you do not need the whole map at once. You only need the next direction. And as you trust the next step, the following one appears, just as light shines enough for the path immediately before you. speak this affirmation until it becomes natural, until you feel its truth vibrating in every thought. No child of God can ever be truly lost in His presence. Though you may feel uncertain, wandering, or even disconnected, in truth you can never be lost, for the presence of God surrounds you and dwells within you. His presence is the constant thread running through every season, every change, every turn of your life. Even when you walk through valleys, His Spirit guides. Even when you stand at crossroads, His light shines. Being a child of God means you are anchored in His love, rooted in His care, and covered by His wisdom. You may lose direction in your mind, but never in your soul, for His presence is a living compass, drawing you back, holding you steady, and keeping you safe. The Lord's path is always safety, victory, and blessing. When you walk in the path of the Lord, you walk under a covering of divine order, where safety is assured, victory is guaranteed, and blessing flows freely. Safety, because no force can remove you from the hand of God. Victory, because every battle yields to the power of His Spirit. Blessing, because His provision overflows in ways seen and unseen. The path may rise steeply, storms may come, yet beneath your steps lies the unshakable foundation of His promise. Each step forward is not just movement, but triumph, for the way of the Lord carries with it the certainty of divine success, unfolding in perfect timing and perfect design. You have heard it now, each truth unfolding like a golden key, that God's direction already lives within you, that His Spirit leads you through peace, that every question has its answer in His infinite mind. You've seen how trusting His guidance opens doors where walls once stood, how what seems like delay is in fact redirection to destiny, and how surrendering the weight of overthinking clears the way for clarity. You've discovered that divine wisdom transforms wrong turns into right outcomes, that affirming His guidance, step by step, aligns you with victory, that no child of God can ever be truly lost in His presence, and that the Lord's path is always safety, always victory, always blessing. This is not theory. This is the living truth working in you now. And here on this channel, we remind you again and again, you are guided, you are protected, and you are never without direction when you trust the Lord.